Amazon CloudFormation. Amazon CloudFormation is a service. So if you remember, like you have a executable file, for example, when you are in Windows something, you have created a client server, normally desktop application something. What does it do? You just install that application. It would be creating a folder inside your drive, hard disk, then copying the files of your package. Then if required, it will make an entry to the registry. If required, it will install a database, something it will be doing over there. So that's the complete steps. It's a step-wise approach it will be following. This happens with all the executables. Now, if you want to follow certain kind of this in your web applications or any applications for the cloud, how does it do? For example, you want to follow a step that first it should create a security group. Second, it should create a key pair file. Then it should launch an EC2 instance. After launching an EC2 instance, it would get a code from S3. Sorry, this is not the first step. After creating this, it will first install the Apache, then install the MySQL, then install the something else if required, another requirement like anything, any file or something, and then it will get the code from S3 and deploy in your web server, Apache or somewhere. It can be PHP or anything, and then it will be creating an elastic load balancer and give you the URL. All these steps you are doing every time. When would this scenario happen? Suppose you are creating a development environment, or you are running something dev and test kind of a scenario. That every time you will have a new version of your application, it will be following these steps. Get the code, install everything, set up an environment for you, and then it will be providing you a ready environment for you. So if you want to do this every time, it may not be a nice concept, because even if you create an AMI, it would not work, because every time you need to get the latest code, you need to do this, all the installation, everything over there. Amazon CloudFormation provides this offering where you can follow all these steps in an orderly way. So you can define that, okay, first create a security group, first, then second, then create a private key file, then install the Apache. Once the Apache is installed, then only go and create a install the MySQL. Once this step is done, only then it would go and download the file. Once this is done, then only it should go and do this elastic load balancer creation. So everything you want to follow in some way, Amazon CloudFormation is a go-to way for you. It provides you a template. A template is nothing but a JSON format scripted language where you can define all the steps in this JSON. So it would be following these steps, and based on these steps, it would be configuring your data. Now let's see about the Amazon CloudFormation. So CloudFormation is an easy way to create a collection of Amazon resources and provision them in orderly and predictable fashion. It will allow the users to create a template and deploy a stack of AWS resources as defined in the template. So first thing you need to create is a template. So it's a JSON format. Then in the CloudFormation console, you create a stack where you will be attaching this stack template as part of the stack, and the stack would use whatever the resource, like you are going to use EC2, EBS, S3, RDS, anything you are going to do, you will be configuring as part of the template. And this stack would be following all this in an orderly way as per template and create everything. Now everything is a combined. So if any of this creation fails, stack will roll out everything. So first it created EC2, second EBS, third S3 bucket. Fourth step is to create an ELB. Fifth step is to create an auto-scaling. Now during the auto-scaling it failed, you want to roll back everything, it can do that. So this template described that Amazon resources will be, you can also define any runtime parameters, like when you're installing Tomcat, use this to parameter launch the Tomcat. These are my runtime parameters, everything you can define over here. How do you use it? You just start using the CloudFormation on the console and you create a template and you can upload this. Amazon also provides a lot of ready templates, sample, or there are so many third-party providers, they give you the templates. which would be your standard templates. You can start using that easily. A question here. So Prithviraj says, I did not follow what is the real use of this application of this? If you remember, I spoke about this just now. You want to create an dev environment, for example. Like you have a 500 users and they are the 500 testers. Now they all need to test on their own. So what would happen that every time you need to create an environment for them. So in this environment, you would be launching an instance. You would be then downloading the latest code. You would be then setting up this database and everything for them. And then you will be providing something so they can test over there. Now, if there are 500 testers over there, you have to do this, keep on doing every time. Or there would be cases where you are having a multiple rollouts of your application also. So every time in a day or two, you are going to roll out something. Or you want to do that, okay, that when I roll out, every time you need to go and launch the instance, you would be launching a new version, you would doing over there. Instead, if you have everything readily available, you just run this template once using that step. It would be doing automatically everything for you. Yes, so it's like an orchestration tool for AWS resources only. So it will be creating AWS resources in an orderly way for you. So Nishan, that's a good question. What is the difference between Beanstalk and CloudFormation? I'll answer that after 5-7 slides when I go for next service, because you will find next service very similar to CloudFormation, and there I would explain you in detail about difference between CloudFormation, Elastic Beanstalk, and other service. So it supports, the biggest advantage of CloudFormation is it supports a wide range of Amazon resources. Also, you can configure all the parameters, and it comes with the ready-made, easy to use templates also. Now, what is the two major components of this? One of them is stack, another is a template. The stack is nothing but a collection of Amazon resources. So all CloudFormation treats the stack as a single unit. So when it's creating, if all the services are created, like as I said, EC2, EBS, RDS, S3, autoscaling, ELB, if everything created, then stack creation is subset. If any one of the service fails, everything would be rolled back. Now, the template where you define all the procedures, all the steps, what to be created, what not to be created. So the template would have 6 main attributes or objects. Template would have a format, version, description, parameters, mappings. So I'll show you sample template here. So when you see this, this is the template version. Now first thing is you just give the name of the template. Now when you are creating, you need to take certain inputs from the user where you say, okay, which key pair should this instance use? So you can ask the key name here. What should be the instance type? You can ask the instance type here. User can also enter this manually. What should be the web server port? You can specify that also here. Now after this, this is a optional field. You can specify or you can skip this step. The important or the mandatory step is specifying resources. Resources is where you define which all service it would be using. So first service is EC2 security group. So this is where it will be creating an EC2 security group for you. So it will create a security group, and for that security group it would be creating the port 22, open port 22 for everyone. Open port 80, we took the port 80 before, so port 80 also for open for everyone. So this is what you will be defining with the security group. Then second step is you creating an elastic load balancer. So you would be configuring that, okay, it listens on port 80. This is my policy name. This is it supports the protocol HTTP8. The load balancer supports this HTTP 80. So listener and load balancer both are supporting on 80. It does the health check at every 2 minutes or 2 healthy thresholds. What is the unhealthy threshold is 5. Timeout is 5, and the interval is every 10 minutes it will be doing over this, or 10 seconds rather, sorry. Then how would the URL would be? It will be checking over that port 80 over here. It supports complete region. Then if you want to define the stickiness, you can define here. So everything you are defining here as part of this. Then you want to create a web server group here, so it will be load balancer, and this auto scaling group you are defining. So what is the minimum size? This is my launch configuration. What are the availability zones I'm defining? What is the maximum size? Then I'm launching the EC2 instance. So launch configuration. So this is my security group. This launch configuration due to this security group, it would use this image ID. It will use this instance type which I took as a parameter, and it will create a launch configuration based on this. And after this, I want to get an output where it will be giving me the load balancer URL. So I can see this and I'll be able to access the application using this. So when I run this template, it would be doing everything automatically. It will creating auto scaling group, creating an elastic load balancer, launch one instance as of now because minimum size is 1, using this AMI ID, using the security group it created, and the key pair it created. It will be doing everything for me. Now, in addition to this, if I require that when it launches the instance, it should install the Apache, it should install the MySQL. That also steps I can configure as part of this template. So this is how I configure a template, and then when I create a stack, it would be using this template and then doing each step one by one. Right? So does it clear your doubts how this works now?